Transmitting live from the Asylum Studios, deep in the bowels of Southwest Texas. It's the Joe Rooz Show. The show where we talk about anything and everything. Where nothing is sacred, nothing is watered down, and nothing is PC.
Well, hey there, folks. This is Joe Rooz. It is 19:03 hours on Friday, August the 29th, 2025, and bringing you the best quality talk radio we could muster without all the bluster. Welcome to the Joe Rooz Show. All right, folks. Hope you guys are ready for the weekend. We have a packed show for you today. It is going to be a humdinger of a show. In the first hour, we have Peter Tickton. Second hour, we have Peter Turner. So we have dueling Peters today. Just hope we don't peter out. Right? All right. I know. Corny joke. I got to stop at those. People tell me I tell too many dad jokes. That's all right. Well, I want to apologize to everybody for not having the show Wednesday night. We had to cancel the show because I somehow, some way came down with a 24-hour bug, a flu or something. Knocked me out, man. I had to leave my regular job early on Wednesday afternoon. Got back here to the house, and I basically slept from the time I got home, about 3 o'clock, up until, I don't even know. I just got up to take the dogs out, the kitties, make sure they ate. That's pretty much all I did. And then got up late Thursday morning, and then here we are today. Feeling much better. Happy to be with you guys. And again, to the guests that we had lined up for Wednesday night, we did reschedule at least half of it. So we'll get the rest of that going on, and we'll let you know when that's going to take place. But in the meantime, like I said, we have Peter Tickton in the first hour. Second hour, we have Pete Turner. And we're looking forward to having some great conversations. I've been looking forward to talking to Peter Tickton now for a while. We were supposed to, I don't know if you remember, we were supposed to have a show a couple of weeks ago, but there were some issues that came up. We weren't able to get connected. And so we had a couple of guys fill in that knew Peter well, and we had a great conversation, a lot of fun. And then we were able to reschedule for this. So this is fantastic. So we're looking forward to getting into that conversation very, very soon. But we do have some housekeeping that we normally do. So let's do that and get that out of the way. All right. So first of all, if you would, head over to our website, joerooz.com. It's right there up on your screen, joerooz.com. Open up that web form that you see on the contact section. And why don't you send us over a message? Let us know whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, any questions, comments, cares, or concerns that you might have. Boy, my ears look like a taxi driving down the street with both doors open, right? Yeah. Sorry. Let us know whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, any questions, comments, cares, or concerns that you might have, any issues, suggestions. If you have a guest in mind that you'd like us to try to get on, or a topic you want us to cover, let us know. We'd be happy to oblige in any way we possibly can. If you don't want to use the web form, totally fine with me. You can always email me directly at info@joerooz.com. That's info@joerooz.com. Also want to remind you that this is a value for value show. And all that basically means is that if you are receiving any value from what we're putting out, the content that we're putting out, we're asking that you return that value in the form of a donation. The donation could be your time, your talent, your treasure. And we'll talk more about that at the end of the show before we wrap everything up for the day. Don't want to kill too much time with that. Also, don't forget to I forgot. Oh, yes. Make sure you visit our affiliate link over at thealexjonesstore.com/Joe. That's this beautiful stuff that you see me sipping on right here. This is my Ultra Methylene Blue, which is an amazing product, which you really, really do need to try. If you haven't tried it yet, this stuff is amazing. I generally do it once a day, but the last couple of days since I've been feeling well, I've been doing it twice, and it's been really helpful. This stuff is amazing. Cleans you out, mitochondrial levels, fantastic stuff. Lots of energy, but not jittery, not like a 5-hour energy drink or anything like that. This stuff is the goods. This is power right here. So you need to try this stuff out. It's fantastic. So I'll be sipping on that throughout the course of the show. But as you go to the website, the alexjonestore.com/Joe, any purchase you make, 10% comes right back here to the store, to the show, just so you know, full disclosure. And it helps us fund what we're doing here. So check it out, thealexjonestore.com/Joe. All right. With that said, we have one more we have to do, and that's to our sponsor, Ezra Healing. Folks, Ezra Healing is a substantial part of a new wellness paradigm currently being born in North America and around the globe. Global citizenry are no longer satisfied with the sick care version of so-called healthcare. Band-Aid medicine, endlessly treating symptoms rather than root causes, must be abandoned as soon as possible. Patient-centric care must be the priority. We need to transition towards the do no harm model of private care that places humanity at the forefront of real health and wellness care. In this new model, your entire lifestyle is examined and analyzed to promote and support the totality of your body's integrated systems. Ezra Healing is a solutions-based health promotion and disease prevention grassroots movement that is always evolving to best serve you and your family. So head over to EzraHealing.com. That's EzraHealing.com. And when you get over there, make sure that you let them know that you heard it here on the Joe Rooz Show, and let them know that their money is being well spent, that we're doing our reads like we're supposed to. All right. Okay. So, well, folks, really excited about this. Peter Tickton, attorney, author, and veteran. He's widely recognized for his legal expertise, his outspoken stance on matters of justice, and his strong defense of American values. Beyond the courtroom, Tickton has been an advocate on issues of law, leadership, and the state of the nation. His unique perspective combines years of practical legal experience with a sharp, unfiltered analysis of today's most pressing political and global challenges. Peter served as a trusted advisor and a voice of accountability and a thought leader who doesn't shy away from hard questions. His passion for guiding people to see through the noise of politics and media to the heart of what truly impacts everyday Americans. Peter was a featured speaker at the very recent America First Ground Zero conference in Las Vegas earlier this month, and joining in with names like Steve Bannon, General Mike Flynn, big fan, and Rudy Giuliani. His latest book, What Makes Trump Tick, offers an intimate portrait of the man behind the headlines, and tonight, we're going to get even deeper. Peter Tickton, welcome to the Joe Rooz Show. It is great to finally have you here with us, sir.
It's really a great pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of playful little questions that I like to ask every guest, no matter what their background is. So what's something that most people don't know about you but should?
Well, that I'm only 54 years old.
Okay, that's good.
And that I've been 54 for 25 years.
Oh, awesome. Well, okay, so I am older than you then. Oh,
yes, you are. But anyone needs to know anything about what it's like being 54, I'm the guy to ask because I've been 54 for so long.
For a long time. Okay, I got you. That's great. What about your go-to beverage or activity you like to do to unwind at the end of the day?
Well, that's really interesting that you asked about beverage because I'm drinking my Diet Cherry Pepsi.
Really?
Yes, it used to be Coca-Cola.
All right.
Okay. Until the president of Coca-Cola decided that anybody who's MAGA, they don't even need as a customer anymore. I figured, okay.
I remember that.
If that's the way you feel about it, I'll go to somebody who appreciates it.
There you go. Well, I don't drink soda. I drink sparkling waters. That's the best thing for me. And that's what I mix my methylene blue with. I'm mixing it right now with some lime sparkling water, which is absolutely delicious. Stuff's amazing.
I got to give that a try.
You should. You should absolutely should. It's a really good product. It affects everybody a little bit differently. Some people feel like they get this burst of energy. Some people liken it to feeling like electrical charges going through their fingers and such, like Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars. But Some people don't feel anything at all. Some people, mild feelings from it. Me, it puts me into a very contemplative mood. It helps me focus a little bit better, and so I usually take it in the morning before I go to work, and then I'll do it here during the course of the show. It takes about 20 minutes or so before you really start feeling the effects of it. But it's really good stuff. It's quality stuff. So I do recommend it. But if you're taking anything like SSRIs, I have to say this is legal stuff, and you're a lawyer, you understand. If you're taking things like SSRIs or anything like that, you need to check with your doctor first because methylene blue is known to interact negatively with SSRIs. So please check with your doctor before you try this product. All right. Satisfactory?
I'm only on vitamins.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So Peter, before we dive into the current events, I want to start with your journey. What first drew you into law, and what keeps you motivated in the field of law after all the years you've served and practiced?
It's funny you're asking things that people never ask me about.
Oh, great.
But I'll just tell you the way it is. Okay, I'm one of those autistic kids that was completely lost, and I was lucky. We moved from the Bronx to Mount Vernon when I was 9, and I started 5th grade. They tested me in Mount Vernon. Like they didn't care about anything in the schools of New York. PS 33, it didn't matter. I could vegetate. And my testing showed that I didn't have the. What's that?
I'm a product of New York public school education myself.
All right. Okay. Well, anyway, I didn't have the reading ability or the math to go into grade 2. I was called down to the principal's office. And I went in there, and my parents were there, and the guidance counselor was there, my teachers, all kinds of people were there. And I'm given this information, and they let me know I'm going to have to repeat grade 4.
Okay.
And so they promised that they were going to give me remedial math and so on, and they did. They did what they promised in those days. That's what people did.
Right.
And yeah, it was a long time ago. And then they brought me up to speed. And so I learned how to adapt and to become like a normal person in many ways. I'm what they call a super intelligent autistic.
Okay.
So for what that means. So I was... I did all right in school, but I ultimately, my parents wanted me to go to private school so I can get into my father's alma mater, Columbia. Okay. And I did very well. And I ended up going to New York Military Academy. And that really got me in shape. Okay. That, you got a left turn, right turn, stand up, attention, sit down, do whatever. You've got to follow orders, and it really helped organize my life. And that's when I met Donald Trump when I was 15 years old. The two of us were 15 in New York Military Academy.
Okay.
And that year he started off with the soccer team. I think he moved over to football later, but and that's where we met. A good guy, there's nothing, most of the guys there were just decent people, and they weren't the crazy kinds of problems that you might see in a movie that's made to, gas things up a little bit to basically put in conflicts. In my 3rd year of New York Military Academy, his 5th year, we were together. He was my captain, and I was his platoon sergeant. He made me a platoon sergeant. That was within his power. Fortunately, I kept that job the whole year. Okay, he never fired me. I never let him down. We passed every inspection. Yeah, we did it right. We passed every inspection. And we were inspected 6 days a week, not Sundays, but every other day. Saturdays were white glove inspections. Where they'd come in with wearing white gloves, and they'd feel over your doors, they'd feel over your lockers. Mm-hmm. God help you if there's any dust on on that white glove. And there never was the whole year. Not just my room, but the Corps of Cadets. And we really were very close in that year. look, we're living in a situation where there's no privacy. I
Mhm.
mean, even the basement was what we called the rear. It's all tiled. There's 2 shower heads, a couple, 2 or 3 urinals, 3 toilets that you could sit down. Nothing to distinguish anything. No hanky panky. They gave us so much saltpeter in our food that nobody, we didn't know from any of that stuff. Uh,
I
but
thought that was a myth.
no, 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 no. Well, they did. A lot of the food was preserved, so it had saltpeter in it. That was the excuse. But no, it's not a myth. Uh,
Okay.
and so at least I either that or I was too busy or too scared in my first year for sure to be thinking about anything like that. But then I did get into Columbia University, but I was able to skip my first year of college if I went up to where my brother was in London, Ontario, New York, at the University of Western Ontario. And then I was able to skip my last year and get into medical school when I
Mhm.
was 20. So I only had 2 years of college, but my background was all in science. That was through high school and through those 2 years of college, and then a year of medical school, where you dissect a human body and you learn a lot about a lot of things,
I'm sure.
including epidemiology. And then and but in my first year of medical school, I was realizing my father loved being a doctor, but I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. What doctors do is great. I love doctors. That my 2 son-in-laws that are doctors, a daughter-in-law that's a doctor. I love doctors, but did I want to be doing that all the time, day
Right.
after day? And so, a friend of mine showed me some cases in law school that he was studying, and I looked at it and I said, "Oh my God, this is like reading Ann Landers. This is fun." So. Uh, So I still remember those cases to this day because
Really.
it's kind of something that really fits me, you
Okay.
know. Uh, and
What
not
kind of cases were they, if I could ask?
Oh, sure, medical malpractice cases. There was a doctor that was accused of sexually harassing or touching a patient
Oh, wow.
in a room, and that the doctor had the presumption of in his favor that he didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And there was discussion about that. So good for testing
Yep.
me. But the you don't let anything go by. That's great. We'll
I
have
try not to.
yeah. So the in my I switched over to law school. By my third year of law school, that year I handled 10 cases in law school. 9 of them were traffic cases, and one of them I actually sat on I started something called the anti-parking committee, and we challenged the parking committee because it was a mess. Students. Let's just say it's probably the same everywhere today as it was then. That there are
Right.
those inflicting parking regimes on people, and those people who fight that. And so I did fight it, and I got the university to. I challenged them, and they filed 18 lawsuits. I ended
Wow.
up defending 10 of them. Only one of them went to trial, and I won the case in trial because it was all by contract, and you can't have penalty clauses in contracts. And so I won that case. I won all of the 9 traffic cases as well. I mean, it was just what it. I just fit in a courtroom. I know how to look. Who are the best cross examiners in the world? You know who they are? They're not people that went to law school. They're mothers of teenagers that stayed out all night, or 2 o'clock came in
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning, right?
Yeah. My mom was great at questioning.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Those are the great cross examiners of all time. And so I'm almost as good as those mothers, and just have that ability because of my disability, because of my difference from the way I think as an autistic person, from the
Mhm.
way that other people think. I mean, I'm still like a normal person. I'm happy. I'm
Of
sad.
course. Yeah.
I'm not some kind of a freak, but at the same time, I'm kind of a little bit more without the obsessive compulsive things. You remember the character on TV, Monk?
Oh yes, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Used to watch them all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So somebody says something to me in cross examination that doesn't quite fit. I see it. You know,
I get you.
and it's that made me kind of special in what I did. And then when I started practicing law, I did it as a barrister in Ontario.
Okay.
And in my first year, I defeated the uniform traffic ticket. So it was Ticton's ticket, and that got a lot of attention. So I had this meteoric rise. You know, you have to understand every single court in the land, the judge was going case dismissed, whether they showed up or not, case dismissed, stamp, case dismissed, stamp, case dismissed.
Mhm.
And they didn't even have a new ticket that they could use for about a year and a half after that case because it had to be approved by the legislature. So that took a long time for them to get that. So people weren't getting tickets and nobody had to pay their tickets. And so I kind of,
Which was like that over here for sometimes.
well, it was fun. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It cost the province millions of dollars, but I'm sure they made it up in the future.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Yeah. I don't think they're suffering. So, although that's Ontario, it's a whole different world now than it was then. Believe me, Canada. I'm sorry to say is lost. Okay, the freedom of speech does not exist in Canada anymore.
Yeah.
Speaking to at the function there was one of the other speakers, but I got to know him. And I think I'm going to end up representing him. But he's looking for asylum because as a trucker, he's charged with offenses of insurrection against the government and so on and so forth. They're going to put him away for a long time if they get him. And so he's down in the States now seeking asylum. And I think it's the first case ever where somebody was seeking asylum from Canada. Think about that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never considered that. I never considered somebody from Canada looking for asylum in the United States. I never would have thought that.
Yeah. Well,
that's amazing.
We were this close to losing our country altogether. You know, if Donald Trump hadn't won the last election, by two things. Number one, it was too big to rig. But number two, there was some things that happened to some computers in, I think, Belgrade, Serbia. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah, we'll have to save that one for a little later.
Save that for another day. But
yes, sir. We'll have to save that for when you come on the show and we do just a 2-hour thing, just the two of us. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll look forward
interesting
to
conversation. So let me ask you this. So people know you as someone who doesn't like to mince words. Has there ever been a case or I guess a moment of your career where speaking the truth came at a real cost to you?
Well, right now I have Judge Scrivens, Mary Scriven, in Tampa, a federal court judge who's an activist judge.
Mm-hmm.
Even though our case had nothing to do with politics, the other side moved for Rule 11 for my not doing a pre-suit claims analysis in a patent case. And she just decided that I need to pay the other firm $321,000 for not doing the pre-suit claims analysis that I did do. But when she saw that I was the one that filed the lawsuit for Donald Trump against Hillary Clinton, that's all she needed. Then I was her enemy.
Right.
And this judge is, what can I say? Out to get me, in a sense. In fact,
I think it's incredible all these activist judges that just insert themselves into the political side of government when they should just be focusing on the judicial side of government. It just drives me crazy.
Right. The thing is that they know that they can do this with impunity.
Right.
And what they don't know is that they can't. Okay.
So they think they can do it with impunity, but the reality of the matter is they really cannot.
Right. Like,
I remember Speaker Johnson, if I can interrupt for a second. I remember Speaker Johnson early in this administration saying that, Congress has the authority to basically shut down district courts. And so I'm wondering when that's ever going to happen. Do you think that's ever going to happen?
something I haven't broach that topic with the people that I talk to in Washington. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I could tell you something's going to happen, and there's some judges who are actually part of the conspiracy to commit the insurrection that occurred in 2020.
Mhm.
Because 2020 wasn't just somebody stealing an election.
No.
Do you mind if we segue into that a little
Oh,
bit?
of course. Yeah. No. Yeah. Floor is yours, sir.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I am your student right now. I'm going to get my notepad here. Here we go.
Okay. Well, remember, you're older than I am because I'm
Well, yeah. Look, you can learn. You can learn from anybody.
So,
Sir.
okay. Joe Biden didn't fix the election.
Mhm.
Okay. Joe Biden couldn't fix a flat tire.
That's true.
Okay. That man's useless. I mean, before he lost his domain, it became completely useless during the course of his presidency. You know, he could still pull it off a little bit in the year of the election in 2020.
Right. I agree.
I mean, he was partially gone by then, and had to be handled. But he's not the one that did this. And if you want to know who did it, I'll tell you, but it'll be scary.
Let's go.
Okay.
We don't run away from things here on this show.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you've discussed this with other guests, and you know about the World Economic Forum.
Yes.
Okay. And you know that China has a good part to play in that.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good part.
At this point, the World Economic Forum was just taken over by Alan Fink, who's also the CEO of BlackRock, which has $11.6 trillion in it.
Yes.
So, you know, if you start thinking about what is that? What is that? What is a trillion? What's a billion? What's a million? Okay, so let me do this to help your guests for once and for all. Okay,
Please.
To understand this. $1 million, boy, I would be really happy to have $1 million right now. Come in. Okay. You take $1,000 bill and up another $1,000 bill on top of another. You make a pile of 1,000 of those $1,000 bills. That's $1 million, and it's 8.5 inches high.
Okay.
Nice little pile here.
Yeah.
Here, this is for you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. All right. I wish.
So yeah, you and me both.
It's a lot of money, $1 million. Boy, that could change everything about a person's life.
Sure.
To get to $1 billion, keep adding to that pile. And that pile will be far taller than the Washington Monument, which is 550 feet, because 8,500 inches is over 700 feet.
Wow.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. But then just keep adding to it to get to $1 trillion. That's 132 miles.
Wow. That's
8.5 inches versus 132 miles is the difference between $1 million and $1 trillion.
That's about half the distance from where I live to San Antonio.
Well,
so I have an idea.
You got an idea.
Yes.
And when you're talking about one, you know, so when we look at this, okay, and we look at these monies, take a look at Act Blue. Act Blue is the money laundering organization that feeds the Democratic causes. And it's already been known for some of its wrongdoing. The first thing we heard about was like some grandmother who donated $5 3 times. Kind of like some of the things that you see with Donald Trump that he puts on, donate. You know, we get
Right.
it. We all get it. And the records of Act Blue, though, showed that she was donating something like 10 to 30 times a day and something like $10,000 a shot. This lady, you know, was lucky if she could afford $5.
Well, I think I remember this story too.
Right. Yeah. It was public news. And so what happened is they figured it was the cartels that were basically laundering money. Then they found another scheme that they were doing. All right. So not only were they doing this with the old ladies' names, using other people's names to basically donate money from illegal activity. They think that, as I said, the cartels, that means drugs and it means human trafficking,
Right.
which is what the Democrats may be about. So what we're talking about, the new activity that was discovered, was where somebody would buy a house for $300,000, and then they would put a mortgage on that house and refinance for a larger amount, like $300 million. Okay, believe it or not. And so this was major, massive money laundering that was going on in Act Blue. Mark Fincham was a state senator in Arizona. He basically put it, I don't know, do you know Mark? Have you ever met him?
I don't know. I haven't.
Oh, you might want him on your show sometime because he's fascinating. And
Fincham?
Mark Fincham, Finchem. But his organization, they were investigating all of this, and they counted up to over. Before I tell you one thing, the Toronto Dominion Bank was actually fined during Biden's administration somehow. Don't ask me how. Under Biden, they were fined $1 billion. So that was pretty big.
Yeah.
But they got caught. All of the things I'm talking about. Okay, this isn't just private information that I found out about. But the new information I have is that $1.6 trillion passed through there. That's far more than any cartels could possibly. The cartels could have possibly come up with 200 million, maybe. I'm sorry, 200 billion, maybe, but not more than that. That 1.6 trillion. The understanding is that it was more than likely that this comes from China.
Wow.
So here we have a country, China, who intentionally sent its virus to the United States, imposed a biological weapon on us. We don't know for sure. Nobody has evidence to show it was intentionally released. Mm-hmm. We don't know if it was intentionally released from Wuhan or not. We understand that it came originally from the United States. We know Fauci's fingerprints are all over it.
Right.
Another man who should be prosecuted.
Really?
For a lot of deaths. That's one of the most despicable human beings on the planet, if you ask me.
Yeah, I've been recently looking into his background a little bit more, and just the things that I've been reading and just learning about this man, just disgusting, all the way back to HIV, AIDS medications, and then this thing with remdesivir, which I learned was an Ebola medication that in the test subjects, 54% of the test subjects died.
No, they killed people. Yeah, they needed to kill them to scare them to take the jab.
Jeez.
Okay, and there are different theories as to why that jab was pushed. It could have been just for profit, but it also could be because there's something much more nefarious about what that jab's all about. But meanwhile, because that's what the World Economic Forum is all about. They want to reduce the world population to 500 billion. They want to, they want 15 out of 16 of us to go bye-bye.
Yeah, Georgia Guidestones. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, there, and also from Bill Gates' mouth.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Wasn't it Bill Gates who said that through vaccines we can decrease population or relieve population?
I'm not sure, but there is a mechanism that the vaccines could work. So if you get the people you want to get rid of to take the vaccine and you don't take the vaccine, if it could have the seed of death in it. We know that we have about twice the death rate that we otherwise would have had. It doesn't show up in huge numbers, but most of us know of somebody that shouldn't have died, that died younger than they should have. We know of people that had the shot and within hours they're dead. Some people, also we know that the vaccine or whatever it is that causes the spike proteins to be manufactured and where tends to generate to move towards the ovaries in women. Not so much the sexual glands in men, but to ovaries in women. So, look, these people are all obsessed and believe in global warming. which may or may not even be true. That you don't have to not believe in global warming or believe in it, but if you look at the evidence, there's some truth to it. Otherwise, these people, some of them very intelligent, wouldn't believe it.
Right.
They believe it. It's become their religion. They believe that if they don't reduce the population, that the global warming will ultimately reduce it to zero, and it can not only kill everybody, kill all the animals on the planet, and so on and so forth.
Right.
And they feel that 2030 is the end time. So they're going to run out of time because we'll be past a point of no return. And they have feedback mechanisms that they can deal with and so on to basically come up with these principles. I mean, you have to understand your enemy. And so just denying global warming doesn't really help. You got to understand global warming in order to understand who these people are and what they're doing and what they want. But you've got, so I didn't intend to get into all of that in this discussion because, some of this isn't proven, but I have seen, I have seen a video of a member of the World Economic Forum speaking to a group of new members. I mean, there's only 100 members technically, but so whatever position they get, sub memberships of some sort. And what he was explaining was what we needed was a means of reducing the population without violence. And now we have it. And they're all excited about it like this, trying to gin up some enthusiasm. So perhaps there is something called ADE, antibody dependent enhancement. I don't know that you've heard of that.
I have, yeah.
Okay, so that's what happened to the ferrets in 2002 after COVID-2, which was SARS.
Mm-hmm.
They did make a vaccine, and they did use, unlike our recent vaccine, which was no vaccine at all, but unlike the recent one where they were not required to use any animal studies. They did use animal studies in 2002 and 3. They used ferrets because it had to be kind of in the cat family. Dogs don't get it, but lions in the zoo do.
Oh, gotcha.
And so they used ferrets as laboratory animals that they experimented with that vaccination. And again, it's not really a vaccination, but whatever it is. And they found that all the ferrets died. They did all right with the side effects, but when they were exposed to another coronavirus, they all died.
Wow.
So if that's the case, and those who got the jabs are exposed to a similar kind of other coronavirus, then the thought is that they could have ADE, antibody-dependent enhancement, which is what happens. So instead of the antibodies working in your favor and gobbling up the viruses, they become pals to the viruses and they let them through the cell walls, the difficult part for a virus.
Right. Okay.
And so once in the cell, it's a smorgasbord for them. They gobble up all of the amino acids, and they reform them to be identical to their DNA. And because viruses do have DNA, in fact, all it is protein surrounding the DNA. It's not like a cell.
Mm-hmm.
And but it does reform, and then voila, you have all of these coming out of the cell, and the antibodies let them all into other cells. So you end up with what would be mathematically called a geometric progression.
Mm-hmm. And
with that, you get something called the cytokine storm, and that leads to organ failure and death. So, so if any of your viewers have seen, have had the jab, and they start seeing that something new is on the horizon where it's having a terrible effect, people are dying, and then make sure you've got a really good supply of ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, because that may be necessary to save you.
I remember when when COVID first came about, I didn't get the vaccine. I don't even like calling it a vaccine. It's a gene therapy.
Exactly.
Uh, I got it on the first round. My regular job is I work in a healthcare facility, a nursing facility, and part of my job is handling biohazardous materials. And so, of course, when this virus was running around our facility, I have to deal with this. Um, and no matter how much protection you wore, I call it the marshmallow suit. You wore the big white suit, the face shields, the goggles, the mask, the gloves, all that stuff. You still get sick. So um, so I got it the first round, and it knocked me out for a little bit. I felt really, really bad. Like I knew I was sick. Um, I would liken it more like to a very bad flu, but my doctor actually prescribed me the hydroxychloroquine before the CDC said no, you can't. And then they took it off the schedule. Um, so they gave me the hydroxychloroquine and the antibiotic, the steroid, all the stuff that they recommended at the time. And I'll be very honest with you. By the time I was ready to take my second dose of the hydroxychloroquine, I was already feeling well enough that I was able to get up and I was able to clean and straighten up my house, and start getting my life back. And then, of course, all of a sudden they took that off. No, no, no. We can't have too many people getting healthy again. We got to keep them getting sick. This way we can keep pushing this gene therapy and get more people infected with this stuff. I think it was all planned. I think it was
Well, yeah.
the whole purpose of it was for control. And I think that a lot of the lockdowns and the mandates that were put in place was a test run to see just how far they can push people before they started pushing back. For what I think is a lead up towards, and people are going to think I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist on this one, but most of the conspiracy theories you hear these days are actually true. Just to push us into that WEF Agenda 2030 mindset, where you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Everything will be micromanaged for you by some oligarch somewhere else, where they'll control everything, and you'll have to live in these little 15-minute cities in these super small apartments, and you'll have to do all these things that they tell you to do. You'll have your social credit score. You'll have you'll have a digital currency where if you don't if you violate, if you go into wrongthink, they can shut your bank account off. You won't be able to buy, sell anything, take care of yourself until
There'll
you
be no
toe the line.
purpose for you. There'll be no purpose. There's no reason for them to keep you.
Right.
They'll have to grow food, and they'll have to do what's necessary to keep you. And that's one of the reasons that people don't keep people after they're in concentration camps. They eliminate them.
Right.
So, unless there's some reason or purpose to keep you, we're going to be in a very logical society, once we're dealing with AI, AGI, ASI.
Mm-hmm.
You know what AGI is?
I've heard of it. I'm not really too familiar with it, though.
That's when AI gets to a level that it knows as much as the top specialist in every single specialty in the world.
Okay.
So the top cardiologist, everything that guy knows, the computers know that and more.
Well, I think we're very close to that already. I don't think we're too far off from that.
It's coming in 2000. It's estimated to be next year, 2026.
Yeah, there you go.
And then the next step is ASI, artificial superintelligence,
Mm-hmm.
which is the ultimate, knowing pretty well everything there is to know and putting it together associations with, you can combine facts and you can figure things out. They don't know how long it's going to take to get to that, but they figure it could be as little as hours or maybe months before we get to that from the time that we reach AGI. So it's a new world that we're coming into, and people are already having fun. I hate to get into this. It sounds so depressing and so awful, but the fact of the matter is with this life, there's hope.
Of course, yes.
And we have a great deal to live for. And if you don't believe me,
this will be a great topic of conversation for us when we can spend the full show together and not have to break in an hour, because this is a great topic. This is very important. This is what's going on in the world today, and we need to be prepared for this. We need to understand what direction we're going.
Right. But right now we're in a war. Right now we're fighting the enemy that took over America for 4 years. I mean, if you don't think that some foreign power took over America for 4 years, let me just ask you one question. When did it become a good idea to open up the southern border of the United States and let anybody walk in? When
I
did
think
that become a good idea?
I think President Trump said it himself that Joe Biden wouldn't have done that on his own. Even Joe Biden, no matter how liberal or far left he is, he would never have done that.
No. But if we're looking at a foreign power that doesn't mind sending fentanyl and killing 100,000 young men in America a year, a million of them in a 10-year period,
I agree.
Of military age, getting rid of our capacity to be able to defend ourselves every way they can. Just think about where they are and what they're doing.
I read there was an estimate. There's 52 to 55 million illegals in this country, illegal aliens in this country right now.
And we have no idea about a lot of them. Okay, we know that there are educated, infantry trained young men from different countries, from Venezuela, from China, that are here in America.
I wish I would have thought about this when I was doing the prep for the show. I would have tried to find some clips to display, but I do remember seeing one Middle Eastern man outside the border in Mexico talking about that this country has no idea what's coming, but he did.
Yeah, because he was with them, you could see them.
Yeah.
There was one news show that I saw, where they were driving down and showing the different people that were there that were waiting. And they said they're every 20 feet. And sure enough, they were there. Every 20 feet, there was another, as though somebody in a military outfit said, spread apart 20 feet, because they weren't 25 and 15 here.
They were exactly 20.
They were like every one of them just exactly 20 feet apart. And about every 1 out of 3 were standing at ease. Okay. Now, when I say at ease, I'm talking about the military position of at ease. Okay. At ease,
Yes,
So where your hands are behind your back and they're standing there. You're loose and you're easy. You can move around, but your hands are behind your back in a way that most people don't do that unless they've been trained, unless they've had some military training. So again, we don't know exactly where that all is, but we need to be a little bit more wary as to what the heck's going on.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Now we only have about 10 minutes left, so I wanted to kind of, if we could just jump ahead a little bit here, I want to talk to you about the America First Ground Zero conference that you attended. Tell us a little bit about that experience. What was that like to be a part of that event?
Oh, it was. You know what? It was wonderful because it's kind of like when you go to a Trump rally, you're with people that are everybody around you pretty well is of a similar mentality that sees the same truth, that isn't full of deceiving themselves. And so it's really wonderful to be among people that are like-minded in that way. I just had so much fun being with, Michael Flynn is a friend of mine. Rudy Giuliani, I don't know that well, but this time we got to know each other a bit better. Roger Stone, was there, but the number of people that were there that understood where we are and what kind of a situation we're in right now, it made it into a really wonderful time.
Did you have any conversations that, or were there any moments that really just like stood out to you as especially impactful?
Well, I'm kind of on the cutting edge as is. I do speak to Michael Flynn on a regular basis, and it's funny because he and I come to the same conclusions. He gets there through intelligence, things that, where he learns what's going on. And I get there with much less intelligence, but more deductive reasoning. But we ending up in the same
point
understandings.
It's interesting. Yeah.
And he's of the same school that I am in terms of what I was talking about before, that there's one pivotal point and what that pivotal point is, which is that we have to have a fair 2026 election.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the Democrats can do whatever they can to try to steal this thing. I don't think they're going to be able to. I mean, especially if they keep pushing the platforms they're pushing, they're going to have to try to steal it.
No, they have the capacity of stealing it if we use the machines and the voter rolls.
Yeah,
they're all corrupted. We've got hundreds. I'm going to say hundreds of thousands, but really millions and millions and millions of non-existing people that are in the voting rolls.
not only that, also you have a lot of these blue states are allowing the illegal aliens to register to vote.
Right. Well, that's not going to happen if we have our if the president does what I'm hoping that he does, because everything hinges on this.
Yeah, I agree with you, and from your mouth to God's ears, I hope that he can pull it off this way. We have to preserve our elections, but there is no America without free and fair elections.
No, we will go right back to, we'll end up with a President Harris or the like of her, and they will see us, anybody that liked Trump, as an enemy of the state. In fact, Trump himself will be considered an enemy of the state, and he will have a terrible fate as well. I mean, this is not, look, they tried to shoot him. We know of 2 occasions. There's also a third where this fellow, remember, he shot his parents, and the next person he was going after was the president and vice president. So, okay. So
my concern is the midterms right now. And I've been saying that since the president was sworn in, is that now we got to start focusing on the midterms, because we have to keep the House, we have to keep the Senate, and because if we don't, what's only going to end up happening is the next 2 years of President Trump's second term, all we're going to hear from the Democrats are impeachments. And I say that because they've already tried it several times. Representative Al Green seems like every other week is filing articles of impeachment. So I think it's critical.
You're exactly correct. You're exactly correct. But what they could do is they could actually take over a supermajority of the Senate as well, and actually have them removed.
Right.
And then once that happens, then they can reinstate some of the things that were going on in the criminal courts, and before you know, he'll be behind bars. This is what they want to do. Okay, these are not pleasant people. These are people who have weaponized the government against people, and in the event that they should take over again, the last time will look like the good old days to everybody. Okay, because everybody's going to be at risk, and people are going to be picked up. If you're not thinking and acting exactly according to Hoyle, you're going to be in danger. And and that's only if all these other possible things that they're planning don't come about.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I absolutely agree. All right, so man, we're out of time already. I can't believe that.
Yeah,
we didn't even get to your book. We didn't really talk about the other stuff I wanted to get to. So let me get to this question. Let me ask you about your book. Let's take a couple of minutes for that. So you wrote What Makes Trump Tick. You lived through a lot of it, and you've known Donald Trump personally. What inspired you to finally put those stories and insights into a book?
Well, 2020 was coming, and I needed to do whatever I could do to help in that election. We needed to make sure we won it. It was devastating to lose it, but strangely enough, maybe we're all better off in a way. Maybe the world needed to see, maybe our world needed to see how stupid, how destructive the Democrats could be if they actually got to win an election. They're saying things like, we're going to open the border, and nobody got, it wasn't registering. But the fact of the matter is, we didn't lose that election. I promise you, we did not lose that election in terms of
not at all.
The people that voted out for Trump by far outvoted Biden. Biden didn't get 81 million votes. That never happened.
No.
And you're going to start seeing the proof come out. The trial for Stephanie Lambert, where they're trying to Tina Peters, her,
Yes.
put her behind bars for having the tabulation machines. It's going to start coming out in there. It's going to come out in other places. Perhaps Donald Trump will make it well known. I think that's kind of going to be in the works eventually. And you're going to see what really happened in 2020. That election was stolen by far.
Oh, and I absolutely agree with you. I mean, you just look at the logistics of the whole thing. There was no way. I was watching the feeds, and I saw the counts change. I was like, wait, what? I just went to the restroom. I came back, and all of a sudden, it's flipped the other way.
Right.
How is
Yeah.
how is that possible?
Right.
You
One
know?
person could take off and get more and more votes, but there's no way that the person loses votes.
No, exactly right. And I remember seeing that, and it was so heartbreaking to see it happening, and realize that in that particular moment, our country descended into a banana republic,
Or worse.
or worse. I was being polite. Well, Peter, we're gonna have to end this out here right now, but I definitely want to have you back. Like I said, we gotta. I'll talk to your people, and we'll get something set up where I can have just the exclusive with you, because there's so much that we agree with, and so much that we could talk about. I would really love to get into your brain some more. So, why don't you tell us where we could find your work, your book, where we can reach out to you, any contact information you want to give out?
Okay, Legal Brains. That's all you need to know.
All right.
Lawyers at my firm have brains, so we've got legalbrains.com.
So we got you at legalbrains.com. We also have you on Facebook as it's the Ticton Law Group. On X, you're at Legal Brains, and Instagram as well at Legal Brains. Peter Ticton, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. I really did appreciate this, and you have a great night, sir. And we look forward to talking to you very, very soon.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure.
Legalbrains.com.
Thank you.
All right. You have a great night. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right. Folks, Peter Ticton, check out his stuff. I was so looking forward. I was so excited to talk to Peter today. And that's like I was a giddy school kid running around the regular job telling everybody, hey, you got to check out the show tonight. And I don't think anybody did, but it was a great experience. And I look forward to really spending some more time with him. And we're going to have to block out an entire show just so I can talk to him. So this was great. Really. And I had so many more questions for him. There were so many things I wanted to talk to, but man, with a mind like that, you don't want to stop him when he's on a roll. And I didn't want to interrupt, and I was learning so much. I got some really good information here, so I'm excited about what the future conversation is going to be. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take a short break. We're going to do a chair break. I'm not going to put a screen up. I'm just going to step out for a second, refill my coffee, hit the little boys' room. And when we come back, we'll have Pete Turner join us for the second hour. And so in the meantime, don't forget, folks, this is a live show, weeknights at 7 p.m. Central Time. And don't forget to follow us on X at Joe Rooz. You can also get us on Facebook at Joe Rooz Podcast. We have to change the name because we did change the name of the show. So it's Joe Rooz Podcast on Facebook for right now. And you can find us on Minds at Joe Rooz, Getter at Joe Rooz. All of it's at Joe Rooz, except Instagram. Instagram is not Joe Rooz. Long story. Tell you about it later. All right. So with that said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, your family, your followers. And we will be back right after this very, very, very short break. Stay with us. All right. Well, first hour is in the books. Welcome back to the Joe Rooz Show. My name is Joe Rooz. It's great to be with you here again on a beautiful Friday. I didn't get to do that before because we were kind of looking to get Peter Tickton in. But it is our Friday show, and we are very happy to be with you, especially after being sick for 2 weeks. It's been crazy. But we are here. And folks, I want to tell you a little bit about Podhome. Podhome.fm is my audio side host platform. Podhome is the most easy, modern to use podcast hosting platform that's on the market today. You can use it to publish your episodes, enhance your audio, and automatically generate transcripts, chapters, titles, show notes, and more. And you can even podcast live. That's right. You can podcast live across the modern podcast apps like Podcast Guru, Fountain.fm, TrueFans.fm. I have to be careful. Sometimes I say OnlyFans by accident, but TrueFans.fm. And you know what? If you don't have a website for your show, Podhome will provide you with a website. You get a subdomain to Podhome, and they will help you set the whole thing up. Or if you have your own domain, you can bring it over to Podhome and they'll set it up for you as well. Everything that you need to set up your podcast, all in one spot for an affordable $15.99 a month. That's $15.99 a month. And if you go to podhome.fm right now and sign up, you get 30 days absolutely free. So you get 30 days to play with it. Guarantee you're going to love it. You're going to stay there. I've been with them now for about 2.5 years. They are fantastic. Love them. Great company. And they got some things in the works. And that reminds me, September 13th. I think it's September 13th. I just forgot. Right, September 13th, we are going to have the owner of podhome.fm on the show with us on a special Saturday show, which we don't normally do. But we're going to have him on the show. We're going to talk about all the great things that are coming out of beta with podhome.fm. So make sure you check it out, podhome.fm. All right, Pete Turner, the executive producer and host of the Break It Down Show podcast, approaching we have over 1,500 episodes, right?
2,000 now.
2,000 now. Okay, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
That's why we generalize it as over 1,500. All right. And your show stands out for its rotating co-hosts. Pete's rich experiences extend beyond geopolitics. His expertise shines in tactical espionage, U.S. travels, and engaging discussions on politics and life. with over 70 months of military service and 1,000 combat patrols. Thank you for your service, brother. I appreciate it. Pete's journey evolved from counterintelligence roles in Afghanistan, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Egypt, Germany, and Iraq. Pete also dedicates his time to Save the Brave. Since 2020, Pete has participated in the Ride for the Brave, taking him and a group of veterans across the country, fundraising, gathering, and healing. Pete is often found on the road, working in the service of others. So let's welcome our guest, Pete Turner, to the show. Hey, Pete, how you doing?
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on the show. And you and I both know what it means to do these things. It's not easy. It's constant chaos. And so to get a few minutes with you in front of your audience, it means a lot to me because it is a lot of work to do what we do. And I really, seriously, I mean, I slow down and always say this because it means something to me, but I appreciate everything about this. So thank you. This is great. Great way to spend Friday.
Hey,
cheers. I see you got your coffee. I'm going to have a little wine with you.
Well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. Normally, I have some bourbon,
Okay.
but I am doing the very best I can to not have bourbon. So
Mine's apple juice. Don't worry. We're not.
Oh no, wine's fine. I'm good with wine.
Okay.
Bourbon's the weak spot. See, I like to spend my weekends with some bourbon, cigar, sitting by the grill with a beautiful woman, just relax. You know.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Close to perfect, man.
It's there, and plus I live in Texas, so can't get any more perfect than that. So it's great. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So I usually like to ask. Oh, yeah, actually, before we get to that, you talk about people don't really know what goes into putting on a show.
Yeah.
Whether you're recording a show or you do a live show, people don't really understand how much time actually goes into it. I work a regular 40-hour a week job. I'm on call. I'm on call 24/7 because of my title position, which is fine. It's not something I'm not used to doing. I'm retired New York City law enforcement, so I know what it's like. But I do a regular 40-hour a week job, and then I do the prep and the setup for the show. I have a producer who helps me out, Angela. She's great. And we always give her the shout out. She's anonymous Angela. She doesn't want us to give out her name, so we do it anyway. So we just put anonymous in front. So anonymous Angela helps me out tremendously. She does a lot of the backgrounds and research for me and helps me put the things together. She's fantastic. I have my team of executive producers only because they contribute money. So they bought their titles. No, but they're great. They're really supportive. So I have a good team, and I appreciate them. I just wish that I had them here with me when I'm doing the show, because it would be easier if somebody was watching the board and all that stuff. And you know what I'm talking about. It's not the easiest. It's not the easiest thing. And then you deal with I don't know, was it you that I mentioned it to, or was it somebody else on, because we met through a podcast dating app called Podmatch. It's like Tinder for podcasters. So it's like, you got you swipe left, you swipe right, accept, decline, and all that wonderful stuff. There are so many hosts or guests that you connect with on Podmatch that really just have no consideration whatsoever for what you're trying to do with your show, and tend to either not show up. Yeah. Which is why I sent you a regular email today. We lost you. Oh, there he is. He's back. Got to turn your stuff back on, brother. Live shows, folks.
What I was.
live shows.
I was trying to send the link out, and I touched my screen, and I turned this studio off. Sorry. I tried to do the right thing, and I did the wrong thing. Sorry.
Now you're good. You're good. That's the joys of a live show. And it's like I always tell everybody, almost every show I do, there's something that happens. And, it wouldn't be my show if it didn't have some kind of a little hiccup somewhere along the way. But, but so many guests, like they either don't show up, or they, I think the worst is they don't show up, and that's why in emails that I send out, I always put, this is a live show,
it's huge. Yeah.
Don't leave me hanging, because you'll never get a shot again. Never do it again.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, so I do, most of the time I do a live show, and I have sort of built up the callus, doing 2,000 plus of these things, that if they don't show, I'll figure something out. But yeah, it breaks my heart when people don't show. And you're right. There's a thing with Podmatch, and I've probably been that guy more often than I normally would. My life is very busy, and Podmatch is very locked in on times, and for me, that's a little tough. So I've had to learn how to adapt to respect your show and everything else. And even then, when I booked it, it's a little confusing on my end. This is not on you. This is just the chaos that goes into these things. You're in a different time zone. Your show starts at, I think it's 5, and then I'm, from my point of view, and I'm on at 6, and then I see the times 5, 6, and 7 Pacific, and I'm like, what time am I going to be on this show?
Right.
And so I'd send you a text and everything, but you're in the middle of doing a show.
Talking to Peter Tickman.
Yeah. I figured it out, but before I got late, I owe you the courtesy of saying, what the heck am I doing? Because at one point I thought, oh my God, did this start at 5? And then I realized slowly, I kind of put it all together, and I watched the other Pete that you had on, wonderful guest. But all that stuff, it goes into what it takes to do this show, and you're pouring your heart and soul into this. I was talking earlier on my show today. If you can get reliably 10 people to show up and watch your show, it's one of the biggest successes of all time.
Yeah.
We tend to lose sight of what, like, wow, you're really doing this. Like, you don't have a problem producing an episode. I don't have a problem. That's not our problem. We have problems that are down the road from that. So folks who are starting, can they even do 5? Probably not, because most everybody does it. I mean, the failure rate is so high. The learning curve is so steep that to do this, to reliably do it, to build an audience, even if it's small, I don't care, because the people that watch any show, they're so passionate about you and what you create and the guests you bring on. Man, I'm all into it. I love it. I love, and I hate when I make a mistake, I mean, the other day I was switching cameras in my live show, and my fat hit one of the buttons and turned the camera off for half a second. And I'm like, damn it, my fat stomach, because I had to reach something. But, and I want to say this one more thing too, because I'm the executive producer, I'm the producer, I'm the booker, I'm the marketer, I'm the, but every now and then I'll get help with someone. And so I went to Vegas and I interviewed some very, very famous boxing people. And my buddy Ron is a very qualified interviewer. I'm like, you just do all of it. I'm not going to ask any questions. And it was so great to make the artistic choices on switching, because I'm live switching cameras, Now, when I'm remote like that, it's too much stress to do live. Yeah. But I'm live to tape, and I want to get it perfect so that I don't have to do any edits, And so, yeah, man, it's a lot. And then I was going to say this: you suck at retiring.
Yeah, I know.
Because this is a job, and then you got your real job, and then you had the job you thought you quit but now you're. Yeah, so that's kind of funny.
Well, I'm hoping that with this iteration of my show that it'll take off to the point where I won't have to do the other job anymore. I can just focus on doing this and make this into something that it's like I joke around. I say I'm building my media empire.
Sure. Well, the odds are in your favor. This is hard to do, and excellence gets discovered in this world. I don't make a lot of money, but I get a lot of opportunities thrown at me, and enough of those opportunities continue to come through that this makes sense for me. Not all of them are financial opportunities, but there's just a lot of opportunities to enrich lives and to do well by myself. And so, yeah, I think if that's your goal, that's where you're at now, certainly accomplishable. I mean, you're over the biggest part of the learning. It still continues to be steep, but when you look back, you're like, damn, we were crazy back then. But now, like, you've got your thing down.
Well, you've been doing your podcast for a while. So I actually started doing this type of stuff before they called it podcasting. I started doing this back in 2015, 16, when they called it internet radio. And I was still up in New York. It was me, my buddy JP, and another guy named Joe. And Joe actually had a professional radio studio in his house, in his basement.
Sure.
That he converted, and he had a number of different shows that would come through, and they would do all their shows out of there. So he gave us access to the studio one night a week to do a live show, with the condition. He wouldn't charge us, with the condition that we let him on the show, and so we had a pretty good breakdown. I was the conservative voice. My friend JP was the left wing liberal lunatic, and then the other Joe, he was like we used to call him the voice of God. He was like just that moderate, libertarian type. He just brought balance to the force, basically, as it was going.
Sure.
And it was a lot of fun. We had a blast, and we would argue and fight during the show, but at the end of the show, we would just grab a pizza and just go hang out. So I've been doing it since then. And when I moved to Texas about 10 years ago, I stopped doing it because at the time when I moved here, the technology really wasn't there to do the remote stuff as well as it is now.
Yeah.
And so I started doing another show under the same name, but it didn't really I wasn't having fun with it. It was just not the same thing. I was too used to doing with the other guys. And then I stopped for a little while. Then I started again, and I did a Bible study podcast. I did the Bible study podcast for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. So yeah, I've been doing this stuff for a while, and it's funny how some of the aspects of the old show, filter into the new show, and it's an interesting mix. It's a lot of fun though. I love doing it. I've met so many people that you never would think you would meet. Like I never have a chance to meet Peter Tickton.
Right. Yeah.
And
now you guys are like buddies.
Yeah,
Guys had a great vibe.
Yeah. He's a great guy to talk to, and we've been trying to get this worked out for a little bit. There was some technical problems earlier on with the last time, but it was a lot of fun, and I met some great, amazing people. Like I never thought in a million I would sit down with a Nobel Peace Prize nominee and have a conversation about saving, bringing education to communist Russia, sneaking down the streets at midnight, under the threat of being killed because you're trying to teach them something. Never would I. When do you meet people like that, except through this venue? I mean,
Yeah.
every show that I've done, I've learned something. I've gotten something from somebody. And I hope other people take some stuff from me too, and not just colds and flus and all that stuff. But so
yeah, and then you go back and listen to your old stuff, and you're like, look at all this brilliance that I'd forgotten about.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's a never ending well of amazing. And I listen to old shows all the time, and I'm like, why don't I do this more? Every single time I do it, but it's hard to do that for whatever reason. And I'm always going forward, and so I have to leave a bigger pile of stuff that I should do something with. But it's it's the ride going forward. It's so great. I guess I just don't want to look back and deal with do work on old stuff. I probably should.
I hear no. You know what? Sometimes it's okay to kind of recycle stuff. If I don't want to use the word recycle, it has a bad connotation to it. But
continue to harvest
or revisit things.
Yeah,
you could say that. When I first started this podcast, I was originally it was going to be. I started this back in November, so not even a year yet, and I started off. I was just like, you know what? I'm on a break from the other podcast, the Bible study one, because I ran into what I call preacher's block. Like I just couldn't come up with any more studies, so I just needed a break, step away from it. And then I got the itch to do something like this. I'll do an interview show, and I'm just going to do it like whenever I feel like doing it. It's not going to be a regular thing. It's just going to be once, if somebody crosses my path that I find interesting, I'll have them come on. I'll record it, and audio only, no video, just do that and get it out of my system. But then it slowly became to where it is now, where I'm basically doing 6 shows a week, and all of them live. And it's crazy. It's just funny how these things just take over. And I don't know about you, but this is like, I think about this stuff all day long. It's like I'm at my regular job, I'm working on something electrical, I'm thinking about, all right, well, so tonight I got so and so, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I do. I spend quite a bit of time in the podcast space watching for guests, because they're all gettable. I mean, at the point where we are, like when you have an established show and you know what you're doing, I see stuff like in my world, if I wanted to chase anybody from President Trump's cabinet, they're gettable. I may not get them, but all I have to do is put my ass together and I'll be competitive. And it's not because I've been around for 10 years. It's because they're accessible. And if they're accessible and you do it right and you catch a break or two, or you're just good, or you know somebody, all of a sudden you're talking to the Secretary of Commerce or whoever it's going to be. These folks want to talk, right? And that's what we built in this world. And if you don't want to talk to those folks, pick another area where it's like the top of that area. Is it going to be finance? You could talk to anybody in finance.
Yeah.
And get to know all of the top 200 people, either through direct interviews on your show or indirect because, everybody knows Larry. And the next thing you know, you're talking to Larry. And I don't know about your show, but my show, I don't even have to ask anybody really. My show will book itself now. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very specific about who I pick. And I pretty much never get told no. Like it just doesn't happen. And it's not because I'm great. It's just because I'm experienced.
Right.
And I know how to ask, and I know when to ask. And yeah, it's an amazing ability and this isn't what we were going to talk originally, but I just love talking about anybody who can withstand the growth of a podcast ought to do it.
Mhm.
If you want to do it to make money, go get a Dutch Brothers franchise and sell coffee, because that will be easier to make money. But if you want to change how you live, who you know, what you see, the opportunities around you, to gather wisdom, whatever it's going to be, make a show, man. Do it.
Not everybody's going to get a Joe Rogan contract.
No, nobody will. Nobody will.
That's, so if that's your goal in this, it's not going to happen,
Right.
And if it does happen, God bless you, let me come over here, let me rub your head or something like that, get some of that juju off you.
Yeah.
But but it's a lot of fun to do. I enjoy it. I really can't not complain about it. When I miss a show, if I don't do one, like last week, strangely enough, I had COVID last week, but it was a cold, and I was able to do all the shows. So I went through them.
Yeah.
This week I did Monday's show, and then I did a show. I do a show every Tuesday with one of my sponsors, Ezra Healing, and we had the CEO of the company come on and we talk about health matters.
Sure.
And so I was doing great through that, and then at the end of the show, all of a sudden I just felt like everything. I just started aching, pain, and all that stuff, and started sweats, the chills, and ended up having 105 something fever, and just caught a 24-hour bug, and I had to cancel Wednesday night show, which I hated. I hate canceling shows. And then I was off on Thursday night, and then here we are tonight. So, but I love to do it. It's a lot of fun. I look forward to it. And then
you and I could talk about podcasting in an hour and have it be like 10 minutes for us, because everything you're saying, I can think of 100 things to say back with you.
Oh, sure, because we've been on for 25 minutes already.
Yeah, like we're just getting started.
Like on alternate Saturdays, I have a resident crypto psychic who comes on the show, and it's great though, because she's spot on. And she does her tarot cards, and we talk, what the cards talk about with crypto, and you know what? She's been right on everything that she's been talking about. Yeah. And it's great, and it's funny because those shows get my highest views, after the fact. So and I think it has to do with the tags. You put in crypto. Everybody's interested in crypto, so. Sure. They see crypto, they're gonna check it out. But we have a good time with it, and it's a lot of fun. And we do it, and then I try to keep my Saturdays for like a special type of show. So like I got my resident crypto psychic, almost like how Alex Jones has his gold person come on. So
I don't know. I never watched Alex Jones.
No,
I believe you that he deals in gold. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but so he has his resident gold expert come on and talk about how the market's moving, and so I have my resident crypto expert come on and talk about how crypto's moving. It's great. It's a lot of fun. But I wouldn't change it for the world. And and you talk about the learning curve. You talk about a lot of podcasts don't make it past 10 episodes. Yeah. That's the reality of it. People start with these great intentions, and they realize just how much work is involved with it, and they back away from it. But if you have a message, you have something you want to get out there, you get it out there, do it.
Yeah. And if you're doing something scripted, good luck, man. That is so hard. It is so hard to sit on something. It's writing a book is what you're doing, and then you're publishing it for everybody to see, and then nobody shows up, because that's the reality.
Yeah.
And you're like, I poured my heart into this. I worked for 1,000 hours. No one showed up. And you don't. It's hard to repeat that. You might get through that first lesson, but it's crushing. It's crushing.
It is.
It's not just about your ego. You're like, I really worked hard on this. Why didn't this work? And you have all these questions. And the thing is this is a very, very, very competitive game. I mean, we compete with national sports that all have podcasts. Jason Bateman has a podcast. Mm-hmm. And so you can't expect very many people to show up. Certainly not right from the beginning. Your friends aren't going to care about it. Your family's not going to care about it. They love you. They support you, but they're not supporting you with time and money. They support you because they love you.
Right.
and that's it. And if you can get over those things, you got half a shot. But man,
That's right.
it's hard. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. But you just got to stick with it, though. Just if once you get started, once you get over that hump, you get into the routine of doing it. It's a lot easier,
Yeah.
and don't cheat. Don't write a show script strictly off of AI. Yeah, you can use AI as a guide, maybe,
Yeah.
but don't write your show off of AI.
I, for the most part, don't listen to anything without actual human video. And I know like that's a sucker's, bet because, but I want someone who's a known expert and a professor or someone who's got decades of experience. Otherwise, if it's just like the 10 weird facts about Dukes of Hazzard, oh, I love that title, I want to watch that. Oh, there's nobody talking to me. No,
Yeah.
thanks. I don't want to hear a script that you didn't write. There's nothing new in this because AI, for all of the things that's fun about it, it's not great at original content, and it's not great at a lot of things. And so, as much as I love some of the things that AI can do, but when I look at all of it, I'm like, yeah, no thanks. That's not going to be something for me to consume as much as I can avoid it. I like to have real humans interact,
Yeah.
and if I don't feel something from something, even if it's a human, then I'm going to turn it off.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't waste time watching those videos like, your sign is this, and you're I don't really
Yeah.
waste time watching that stuff because first of all, it's an AI voice. It's not even a human voice, and
Right.
it's a script that's being read. It's
Yeah.
not entertaining. It's just a bunch of nonsense. But
Now, real pros did that. Real pros,
Mhm.
like actual, like if Tom Hanks is reading something or it's in Tom Hanks's voice, and David Mamet wrote it, I'm going to be entertained because that's what they do for a living. They
Yeah,
do real
exactly,
things.
exactly.
So even if it's 10% less of them because it's done through AI, I'm still in for that. But and no offense to anybody who does this, if you're in your in your garage and you're working on your show and you're not putting the work in to become great, then you aren't earning my attention.
Mhm.
You've got greatness only can be found if you practice and you suck you got to go through sucking. And
Yep.
if you don't suck and you have AI tell you something that, oh my gosh, that's not the way. There are people that do it that way. Good for them. But you're not going to get my attention if I have even a whiff of it.
Yeah.
And that's just how I am. Maybe I'm an old man, but that's what I am.
Nah, you're not old. Because I agree with you, and I'm probably older than you anyway. So Pete, let's actually get to the actual
Are we
question.
going to get to work? All
Yeah,
right,
let's get to work. So you've had a really unique career path, military espionage, podcasting, working with charities. What first shaped your worldview and set you out on this journey that you're on with this? Which, by the way, you have a great show,
I
by the
grew
way.
up in the 70s and 80s, right? And it was a different time to be a kid. We were allowed to be out of the house. You had to invent your own fun. You had to ride your bike. You had to throw a ball at somebody. You had to get punched in the face. And all these kind of things just turn you into someone who, at least in my world, can go and exist in someone else's home. And I don't know, like for me, the safest place was to be out of the house. And that just kind of gave me an independent streak that I still don't know where the edges of it are. I struggle with authority, and this is from a guy who's in the army. So I'm like, I'm chaffing at it all the time. I also I play hard because I learned that because like all kids, I was pick onable. All kinds of kids are like that. And so I had to stand up for myself, and I had to take, like, I'm not going to take this anymore. And I remember in one of my big moments in my life, we were just playing baseball, and the kids would let each other play, right? But you would get dogged by people. And so this guy was dogging me, and I'm like, you've got to shut up. You've got to shut up. And there's bigger kids, there's smaller kids, but this guy wouldn't shut up. So I slid into second base and I dropped him. And I'm like,
Nice.
this is what you do. And I didn't want to, I hated the fighting thing. I was all sick to my stomach when I was going to, but I'm like, I was resolved. And he never made fun of me again. And on that baseball field, I could play baseball and nobody would razz me because they knew there was a consequence and that I might hit him. And look, maybe I got lucky and knocked him out. And did I even hurt him? Probably not. But still, nobody's going to go after the guy who actually punches back. Do I condone violence between kids? No. But sometimes kids got to be the boss of their area, and these things I think set me on a path of I can do more than I realize, and things that are scary are sometimes worth doing. Sometimes you shouldn't jump off the roof as long as you break your ankle, but sometimes you got to jump off the roof. just so you can figure out where the bounds of things are. And that sounds insane, but that's the world that we grew up in.
That's exactly.
Yeah. And so when it comes to danger and doing things physically, I compete pretty hard. Am I the world's greatest athlete? No, but I was a good athlete. And when I got to the Army, I was more of an athlete than all the nerds that I was around because it's intel. And so I'm like, oh, these guys can't even compete with me physically. I can do more push-ups. I can run faster. I can throw the ball. I can lead in these regards.
Mhm.
And I have a degree like everybody else. And I'm studying. And I go, oh, man, I can really thrive here. I can really outcompete my peers. And that's a great way to start. But it is tough to navigate because when you start being this arrogant guy who's always trying to destroy your peers, that doesn't read well to everybody else.
That's right.
And so you've got, and I imagine it's the same like in any kind of force, like a fire department, a police force, or anything like that. If you're out there and you're always alphaing and you don't know how to, it's easy to be arrogant. And I wasn't trying to be arrogant, but I was really confident. And those things, they blend over. And I radiated arrogance and not aloofness, but because I was still likable. But it didn't serve me well in terms of standing. So I stood out because I accomplished things, but it was like, yeah, but your attitude. And I'm like, what do you mean my attitude? Oops, there's my attitude, that kind of thing.
I know what you mean, man. I know exactly what you mean. Now, you served in the military, which again, I don't know if you heard me before, but thank you for your service. And I'm usually hesitant to say that to a lot of folks because I had one experience not too long ago where and I told the story in another show too. I had this one experience not too long ago where I saw a veteran, a Korean War veteran, sitting in a little shop over here, and I went over and I said, "Hey, sir, thank you for your service." And he just stopped. He looked at me. He was like, "Well, thank you for reminding me of this, this, and this, and this. I appreciate that."
Yeah. He's being a dick.
I was like, yeah. I usually ask first before I mention it, but you don't seem like you're gonna like pop off if I said it. So.
No, and you know what? I'll give everybody a little bit of a clue. So it's great to say that, right? But it's a little bit like, hey, how you doing? How's your back? Kind of thing. Like you have to, if you want to do it well, you have to mean it, and that means that you have to do it like you mean it. And so you have to say, like you did. You're like, did I say this already? I appreciate that, and then it's on me to figure out how I'm going to respond and how do I respond well. And I've tried all kinds of ways. But like if someone just says it because they hear veteran and then they just automatically out of their mouth comes, thank you for your service. Like, all right, well, okay, now that we're over this fake talk, let's get to the real things. And so just do your best to, like, I used to say, like, I can't eat that. Like, there's no money in that for me. I'm trying to survive here. And so someone who's hurting, who's not even like drowning, they're below drowning, that person's tough to say thank you to because they're like, yeah, well, I'm fucked. And that's the bad thing is like you're trying to be nice to somebody and tell them that they appreciate it. And it's hard for us to hear that. Yeah. So all I would say is continue to make that your policy and just grab them by the, if you can, and this is just what Pete thinks, something like this. You do your version of it, but grab them by the hand, look them straight in the eye, like, no, I want you to hear me. I couldn't do what I do. Thank you. There's all I can do for you is just to say thank you. I can't imagine. And then just leave it at that. Like really like pour your heart into it for 5 seconds. And then that would go a long way. Do you have to do that? No. You can just be like, thanks for your service, and that's going to be good enough. But if you really want to do it well, do it well.
Yeah, that makes total sense, and I agree with you. I wouldn't stop saying it. If I saw someone, I wouldn't. But it did make me pause for a second and made me kind of rethink it a little bit. Well, maybe I am bringing back some bad memories. Maybe they really don't want to relive those things by my bringing it up to them. But then again, at the same time, you're sitting there wearing a veteran's hat. So
yeah, you would never know I was a veteran watching me day to day walking around. And here's the other thing is if that guy's got demons, they're going to show up at night anyhow because anybody who's done this kind of work, and this, that stuff comes up at night. You are like, all right, here we go. We're going to do this dance once again. The demons happen when you go to sleep.
So what's one cultural lesson that you picked up in the field that still guides you how you see the world today?
You'll get this because you've moved from New York to Texas. Don't try to out-Texas a Texan. Just learn to become a Texan. Don't try to out-New York a New Yorker. Yeah, you might know a lot about that place. Let them be better at that than you.
Right.
We tend to think like if I can ape like I'm from New York, I know, whatever. Like this is Jersey, this is Hoboken, the place of Sinatra or whatever, right? Don't do that. don't act like, don't put on airs. Just let them be great at that and ask them, like, who's the most, if you're in Hoboken and you're like, who's the most important person from this area? Maybe it's Chaz Palminteri. I don't know, right? But ask, let them tell you. And if they don't want to talk about Sinatra because he's been dead for 30 years, then who do they talk about? Oh, we talk about this kid that plays baseball, or whatever it is, right? They have something. So let them be great at where they're from. If I came to your hometown of Texas and you said, hey, let me show you this place, I'm desperate to have you tell me that. I want you to show me the best things about where you're from. You take me to your best, look, I mean, obviously barbecue, right? But what do you call those hot dog wrap bread things that you guys have down there? Kolaches. Yeah.
Yes.
Where's your kolache place, right? Like, I know enough to say that, and you're like, oh, I got two. And then you're going to take me to those places, and that's how I'm going to work your culture to my advantage.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Now, mind you, I live on the border. So I live in Eagle Pass. So I am right on the border with Mexico. So
Yeah.
there's more Mexican flavor here than Texas barbecue flavor. And unfortunately, there's really no good pizza around here either. It sucks. It's terrible.
Yeah.
There's one place that they do a pretty decent job, and they're good folks, and they take good criticism. So the first time I had pizza there, I was like, listen, look, take it from me, this is not how you're going to do this. And they listened, and they made some changes, and that's the only place that I found here that's good. There's a chain here. Oh, it's horrible. It's like the worst. It's like
that's like me with Mexican food. I get a certain level north and I get a certain level east, and it's not a very big window. It's not just in California, but yeah, I'm like, nah. Like, my cousins in Montana, like, let's go get Mexican. I'm like, I'll go with you, but let's not call it Mexican.
Yeah, because it's not. It's not at all. But this one place here is called Peter Piper's. I don't know if you guys have that where you are.
I've had Peter Piper pizza before. Yeah,
It's the worst pizza I've ever had in my life. It's like a grade below Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's exactly where I'd put it, right around in that zone. Yeah. Let me ask you this, because this is a Texas thing, and so some folks may not realize this. You can reach a point in West Texas where you are so far west, you are no longer in West Texas. That sounds insane, but it's true. And so if you say to someone who's in El Paso at the border, they'll think they're in West Texas. Tell you where it stops, and you're like, wait, Fort Jefferson is where it stops? Yeah, anything past that, that's not Texas. That's not West Texas. I'm like, what the hell is it? But all they know is that's where it stops, right? So have you heard this at all about when you get out your way?
I've not heard that, but I can understand it. I can relate to it because I love the city that I live in. Eagle Pass has been great to me since I've been here. So anybody listening or watching in Eagle Pass, I love yous.
Yeah,
I have a bunch of good friends here. I'm personal friends with the mayor right now, and the former city managers and I are good friends. And so these guys are great. I mean, I have not had a bad experience with the city government in any way since I've been here.
Right.
10 years, never had an incident. I'm extremely polite, great people. But having said that, this Eagle Pass is more Mexico than it is Texas.
Yeah. That's the same thing. Go ahead.
I don't speak a lick of Spanish.
Right.
I understand more than what I let on, but that's also because I come from a Sicilian background. So, and my Italian is very similar to Spanish in some ways. There's a lot of differences, but it's some similarities. So I was able to pick it up a little faster. But it's kind of tough. And so the only thing I say is when any store you go into here, that they immediately start off with Spanish, and I'm like, I no habla español, and then they look at you funny. Well, you just did.
That's how. So when I think about the South stops somewhere in mid-Florida in terms of just the Florida part, right?
Mm-hmm.
And two measures for if you're in the South. If you order iced tea, if they bring you sweet tea automatically without asking, you are for sure in the South.
Mm-hmm.
If they say, do you want sweet or regular, then you're probably somewhere near the South. And if they just bring you iced tea with nothing in it, then you're nowhere near the South. And that's that. But when you go to Florida, you reach a spot, it's probably south of Palm Beach area, but then it becomes a different place. It's more Caribbean, it's more Spanish, and like parts of Miami, you're like, that's just not the South at all, right? It's a completely different place, and they will talk to you in Spanish primarily. The billboards are in Spanish, and so like this is a different place. And so yeah, it's a weird thing, but a lot of Florida is not the South. It is something else, and also it's just a melting pot of everybody there.
Yeah.
It's like Vegas. Everybody's from somewhere else, and you'll meet someone that just moved there that day, every day.
Yeah, Florida's great though. I love I've been to Florida just twice in my life, and I never cease to be impressed. Just the differences, just turning a street corner. You got, especially if you're down in near where the Cuban area is mostly. I mean, that's just
It's
amazing.
great.
Now, when I worked in New York City, I worked in I had 3 districts in Upper Manhattan. So I went from river to river was the area
Yeah.
that I was responsible for. That was my sector. So I went from the East River to the Hudson River. And so I went from Spanish Harlem to West Harlem. And the differences in the communities were just amazing. In Spanish Harlem, you had, and it was funny to see it this way, but you had a little Cuban section, you had a little Puerto Rican section, you had a little Mexican section, you had this, and it was just amazing to be there. Just the food is amazing. Oh, that's another thing you got to do when you come down here. You got to cross over, and you got to hit the food trucks over in Mexico. You want to talk about some of the best food? The food trucks in Mexico have the best food ever. And what I love about them is the fact that you'll sit there, you'll watch them prepare the food, and if you really show that you're interested in what they're doing, they will put on the show for you because they want you to enjoy that. They're not just going to slop it all together, like most food trucks do. Like the sort of, I mean, they take such pride in what they do in these food trucks. I mean, it's amazing, and the food is incredible. And you got some of that too up in New York. Until I went to this one place. I was up in Queens. I was working in detail, and we were in Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. And the guy that I was working with that day, he was like, "Hey, do you want to try something?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." What? Takes me over to this thing, and they have these skewers with these big chunks of meat on it. He goes, "You want to try that?" I'm looking at him like, what is that?
Yeah.
And I forgot what they called it in Spanish, but basically what it was rat on a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, no. Why would you offer that to somebody? It's terrible, but people were buying it, dude. They were just like chomping on that thing. It was just the nastiest thing ever.
Yeah.
Off the track. On your show, I want to talk about your podcast. All right, because this is interesting to me, and it's something that I want to learn from you on this one. Now you've interviewed hundreds of guests, really good guests. Right. I've checked out your show. You have a really good show. I enjoy it, and I guess my question is, I'm at the point now where I have to start getting a little picky as to who comes on the show and who doesn't. How do you decide who you bring on the platform?
Who's interesting to me. I don't consider the audience at all, because if I like it, my audience is going to like the things that I like, or they're not. And not every episode is supposed to be for everybody. That includes me. And so I may have someone on, like, let's say, and I'm glad to have you on, but let's just say I have you on and it doesn't work out. You're more conservative than I am, for sure. I'm also like your buddy who's in the middle. That's sort of like me, right? Let's say you get super crazy, wacky QAnon to the right? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's not the vibe I want to put out. And so I won't. I'll like you, but I won't have you back. Because that isn't what I want to do. Or I'll find something else for us to talk about. Like we'll talk about sports or something else.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about as picky as I am. But there are things I don't do. And so if you're an emerging author and you've written one book, it's your first book, chances are I won't have you on, because I can't help you. I can't get you over the top, especially if your book is, and this is no knock, but if your book is self-published and not edited, I'm not going to expose my audience. One time I think about my audience, I'm not going to expose my audience to that. Like, you have to be better than that. I'm glad to give someone a shot, so I'll make an exception to my exception. But that's a norm. If you're a coach and you're 20 years old, I'm not going to have you on my show. I don't like coaches. So like on Podmatch, if I see coach, I'm definitely, swipe left, whatever it is. I don't I don't do coaches because for the most part, I don't have faith in their approach. And look, I hate to say this. This is so unfair, but they're a little shystery to me because I'm like, well, why are you? And if you say why are you, they have an answer for that. And so I just don't. I don't want to hear from coaches. I want to hear from people who are wise over coaches. Not that coaches can't be wise, but that branding for me, I draw a pretty firm line there. Now I've had coaches on, you know. I've also had Jim Mora Jr. on my show. He's a coach. He's
Really?
okay because he's a real coach. But there's
Really?
that thing.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, and so I'm not that picky, but you've got to be bringing something because that's the rules, right? And so that's I guess where it's at. But I love to give people a shot. As much as I just said I don't want emerging authors, I love to give people a shot. If a veteran reaches out, I'm probably going to say yes, even if it breaks all of my rules. I'm going to give them a shot because if nothing else, they get a rep and they have a chance to do something, you know, because some of them aren't ready, you know, and then I just have done what I can for them. And look, if you've got all these shows, almost every single show is good. And so if there's a couple of stinkers, what do I care? So I guess that's my approach is it interesting to me? Do I want to have them back? You're like, I want to have you on my show. I want to have a great conversation with you. I want to talk about policing in New York and all these other things that go on. I want to do that, right? So that's interesting. And so I'll have a lot of people from Podmatch on my show, but I don't book for my show on Podmatch. My show is on there, but I may take it down because I don't use it to book guests. Anybody who's on there, I can just book them on my own, and I don't need Podmatch for that.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, and actually, I used Podmatch when I started doing interviews more regularly because I needed to kind of cut my teeth on it.
Sure.
And I figured this is a good way to do it, you know. And now I'm using another site to get some really good. That's how this is where I got Peter Tickton from, is radioguestlist.com, and super site. I mean, when I tell you, when I first put my profile up, poor Angela. I mean, because I put her email down as the contact, and she got swamped with all these bookings, and my calendar filled up. I got booked all the way through until the end of September, pretty quickly. And you know, so I guess my reason for asking that question is because I got to start weaning myself away from, you know, just picking anybody and everybody. And it's the matter of when is the right time. And I feel like the time is now.
If you think about this, you've got a lot of guests, and as you build up a catalog, you'll need less and less fresh guests because the authors will write a book a year or a book every other year. And so all of a sudden, like there's 100 people that I'll have on my show. I might have them on twice in a year. You know, like I've got these guys right for the Tom Clancy universe that come on my show. I can't get enough of those guys. I love talking to them. I can't believe that I built a show where I get to talk to someone who's writing Tom Clancy books. That's ridiculous, you know? And so let's say that there's, for me now, and you know, look, I'm further down the road than you are, but I've been in your spot. Do I need 50 original guests that I get in a year? Maybe. Is it 100? Yeah, but it's not 200, you know? And so all of a sudden I'm like 100. Well, shoot, I can find 100 people, you know? And that's kind of how I handle that is I bring other people on who I know are great, who have something new to talk about. I've had a lot of amazing people on the show. I can go back at any time to ask any of them, and they'll have something new because they're all in the business of having something new.
Yeah, and you know, also for me, I played around with a lot of different subjects. So I've interviewed paranormal investigators, which I like. I enjoy that. I get a kick out of that stuff because I've had my own experiences, so it was a lot of fun to share those stories. And this one particular couple, they're I don't know if I know they were moving at the time that I met them, and so I don't know if they're back doing their podcast or not, but they had a great little show called Creepy Coffee's Podcast. And they were a husband-wife ghost hunting team, and they had some great stories. We had a lot of fun talking. I would love to talk to them again, you know, and have them back on and see what they're up to. And we were actually talking about trying to get them to come down here to go to this cemetery not too far from me. We're going to do an overnight and hang out there. But you know, so I've had them. I've had people that I had one guy super smart guy. I felt like I was totally out of my league on this one
Yeah.
because I have no information. He's over here talking about 0 point energy and level 5 civilizations and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, that's great. I mean, I'm a little bit lost on that stuff, but I learned something, I got something out of it. I've had a range of guests on the show, and it's been great. But I think I'm starting to feel like it's time. And I told my producer that we got to start getting a little more picky with who's coming on.
Yeah. Well, I would if you're
I don't mean
it.
I don't mean to sound like a snob.
No, no. I get exactly what you're saying. You don't want to just take anybody that comes to the door, and so I would spend time reaching out to things that are really incredible to you that you don't think you have access to. I love doing this to my friends. They'll say, "Oh my God, Pete!" I mean, keep in mind, my friends don't listen to my show. I read the most amazing book. They're talking to me as Pete. They're not talking to me as Pete A. Turner, podcast producer. They're like, and it was about this thing and this story. I'm like, who wrote the book? Like, oh, it's Jim Stevens. Oh my God, I love that book. I'm like, I'm going to book him on the show, and you're going to sit next to me, and we're going to talk to that dude.
Oh,
and they're like, wait, what? What? No, really? And I'm like, yeah, I'll get that guy. And so then here's what I do. I go online, and I look him up. Bam, and I book it, and I blow my friend's brain. They're just like, what? I can't believe, and so I like to do stuff like that. Or if there's a business or a cool place that I want to go to, I'll reach out. Maybe it's a convention, and I'll reach out and I'll say, I'd love to come down and do some shows based off of support you guys. And they'll, yeah, of course. And it's funny, like people are like, oh, you got to have a press credential. I make the press credential. You make the press credential. Like we make them ourselves. You just write them into their job is to say yes. And so you're like, I authorize Pete Turner to come to the SHOT Show or whatever it's going to be.
Right.
And then they're like, yeah, of course, because they designed it. They want media to come. And so you just act like you're media because you are. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm at SHOT Show and there's so-and-so and and I'm saying SHOT Show as an example, right? Yeah. But there's celebrities at all these things. And then I'm like, I can ask any one of these guys. They'll tell me yes here. It may not be a real yes because we're working. But if I follow up with them in a good way, that yes may turn into yes. May still be a no, but I've now met all these new people in this world that I'm fascinated by. And now I can book 25 people over the course of a year from this world. Who's got a new book, who's selling a whiskey, who's doing this, who's doing that. And so even if I'm being a little permissive, I'm being permissive in a world that I want to explore.
I gotcha. Yeah, I like that. That's good. That's really good. Let's dream big here for a second.
All right.
If you could bring anyone on your podcast, living, past, who would be the guest that makes you feel like you've hit the big leagues?
Well, if they're dead, I'd bring Hitler on my show because who doesn't want to talk to that guy?
Mm-hmm.
I'd just sit him down and be like, all right, man, listen, you didn't do so good in history. We're all pretty mad at you still. They've written a lot of movies. You're probably the #1 heel of all time, and just to have that conversation. Because here's the thing:
everybody in the world who is hated is automatically Hitler. So
right. He is the heel. He's like, imagine the world in history as being WWE. He's the heel. The heel's heel, right? Mm-hmm. So whenever I'm told, this is the contrarian in me, that something is true, that these guys are evil, this corporation's evil, I just reach out to them, and I'm like, I'm told you're evil. I'd rather just get to know you guys where you're at. And they may lie to me. I don't care about that. But what I do care about is I don't want to be fed something. And so if something's true, it's going to be true. Like the whole Israel-Palestine conflict. A lot of people are getting fed, both sides, but primarily, the Hamas side, because those guys, turns out, are terrorists, right? And so I just go get people who are in the IDF who study this stuff professionally. And I'm like, what do you think? And they laugh. They're like, it's all so ridiculous. No one takes those people seriously because they're not living in a real world, right? So, way back when, I was told how Monsanto was this horrible company. And look, it's a corporation and they have IP and they sue people. Oh, okay, great. So we talked to them and we had a pre-meeting, which is pretty rare for us. But, we know we can't ask them about active lawsuits, so we're not going to do that. And so we said, we're not going to ask you about stuff you can't answer. We just want to get to know who you guys are and what you do. And like, we've got a guy for that. And so we sat down with this guy named Ty Griffin. And he's like, listen, we're desperate to solve these agricultural problems. Nobody else does this, at least not at our level. So here's what we do. We go to all the big ag schools and we hire all of the top graduates that we can gobble up because we have so much work. Pete, ask me where that work comes from. Okay, Ty, where does that work come from? Farmers. They have problems they can't solve. And so if we don't do this, who's going to, all of a sudden you're like, wait a second. You know? And so, yeah, they have some predatory practices because they have to protect their stuff and they're a corporation, and they just sue people and they get a reputation. Okay, great. But also, they save different kinds of products that would have gone extinct or have been attacked by a blight. They save those things. They help people who don't have ideal soil. They help. And so, look, I'm not saying the scale's balanced in any way because I don't know that, but I do know there's a lot of good on their side of the scale that feeds a lot of people. And they make all these great points. Like the world is getting, not any bigger, but the people are more and they want more food. And so we have to help get bigger yields. That's one of the problems that we solve.
Mhm.
How can I be mad at that?
Oh, you can't. It's a noble cause.
Right. But I was told that they were awful.
Yeah, I was
And
going
they admit,
to say that. Yeah.
yeah.
You-
And
you-
they
you-
admit like we're bad at communication. They admit that. Like we can't talk well because of what happens when we do. And so we do our best, but we always struggle with our messages because lawyers are like, you can't say that, we'll get sued. You can't say that. And they're probably right, because who are you going to sue? You're going to sue Monsanto because they're a bad guy.
Right. And that's all you hear is just it's Monsanto this and Monsanto that. Yeah. Look, there's every company's good and bad. Everybody has every
Right.
company has an upside, downside, and not every company is going to be completely ethical in everything that they do. Unfortunately. But I think as a whole, the company in and of itself it's not an evil corporation. I don't see it that way. I disagree with a lot of people who say that.
Right.
Not all corporations are evil.
And you notice that nobody's mad at Bayer and they bought them.
Yeah.
So some
Bayer.
amount of that is BS, right?
Yeah, Bayer. I'm not going to get to what Bayer did in the past. we all know. So we're running out of time here. So let me hit you with some of this. I'd like to ask you a little bit about Save the Brave. So
I don't work with those guys anymore, but I will tell you about them. That's
Okay.
old for my bio, but I will tell you everything I know about them because they're great guys.
So how did you first get involved?
Well, my buddy Scott Husing ended up being the president, the director of it. And so he's an author and a Marine. And we just became really good friends. And he said, hey, I'm doing this. Will you help or whatever? And so I helped a little bit here and there. And I was behind him 100%. But, whenever I could help him. I did. And then the big thing is during COVID, one of his buddies, veteran, drank himself to death. And he lived in South Carolina. And so Scott was saying to me, we both live in California. At least he lives in Texas now, but we both live in California. And he's like, I'm going to get on my motorcycle and just try to sort this out. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm just so brokenhearted. We grew up together. We joined the service together, and now he's gone. And it was so needless. And so I'm just going to ride my motorcycle by myself across the desert. And I'm like, check that. You can ride your motorcycle all you want, but I'm going to be on your 6 in my truck with the cooler full of drinks. I'm going to make sure that you're all right. You do as hard a thing as you want to do. I'm still going to be there because I don't want you to be coming in kind of danger by yourself. Desert's a big place. And so he's like, did we just invent something? And I'm like, I think we did. And so that's what the Ride for the Brave became. And so first year we rode, he and I, him on his motorcycle, me in my truck. And then he rode the whole thing there and back, as you can imagine. And then the next year it was, he flew back and I drove the truck there and back. But yeah, we did it for 4 straight years. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, a lot of love though. And it was amazing. And so we sort of just reached like there's nothing we can do to top this. We can't continue it. So we're both going to go do new things. And so that there was never any animosity to Save the Brave. We all just wanted something different at that point. We had reached the conclusion of the Ride for the Brave, but it was amazing. And it turns out like when you show up and you say, hey, we're here and here's what we're talking about, veteran suicide. By the way, 2 years later, my brother took his life, also a veteran. And we didn't know all these things were going to happen. And while I'm driving, I'm getting so-and-so just took their life. And I became this beacon, and Scott too, for people that like didn't know what to do when the veteran in their life had taken their own life. And so it was an amazing thing to be able to be a resource for people. And still to this day, I've gotten good at people dying. So people call me all the time, so-and-so died. What do you think I need to do or whatever? And yeah, I still help people try to sort it out whenever I can. Do my best. Sometimes you just got to go through that fire yourself. But that's what my mission has become after the Ride for the Brave ended, was just being of service to other people who are trying to figure out what to do when someone they love is hurting so bad that they either hurt themselves or take themselves out. And how do you get in front of that? I'm a big believer in Don't ask someone who's hanging on to the end of their rope to reach out and call you. No. Way before that, you reach out to them. Be active in their life.
Yeah,
Let them know
that's
that someone cares about them. Because when you think nobody cares about you and your phone never rings, you can believe it, even if it's not true.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know too many people that fell into that cycle, and
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Of course, you know. Yeah, you guys go
aren't here
through a
with
lot.
us today, and they aren't here with us today because of that.
Yeah.
So it was tough.
Yeah.
So who's someone you respect right now, and what are they doing that we should keep an eye on?
Boy, I am amazed by that guy, Scott Bessent. I'm not a big Trump guy. I want him to succeed and all that stuff. But every time I see Scott Bessent talking, and I'm like, why don't we have someone like this all the time? Why is it always someone who is, I can look, I'm a spy. I watch him talking. I'm like, this person's lying to me. I can see it. And this guy just impresses the hell out of me. That might make a lot of people upset, but I don't care. When this guy's talking, and maybe he's all wrong, maybe he's going to screw it up, but this guy doesn't have a history of screwing things up. He has a history of doing great. And I'm like, oh my God, who is this guy? And I can't get enough of him. I want him and everything he's saying to be right. And I'm super excited that he's on our side. And this is what I've always wanted was why do we always scrape from the bottom of the barrel with people? Why aren't we getting the cream of the crop? And he seems to me today, right now, a smash cut to some kind of atrocity, but for right now, he seems to be just an amazing person to have in charge of the Treasury. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I agree with you. When he was first announced, I was like, I don't know much about this guy, other than what you hear in the news and whatnot. But I'm impressed. I'm really impressed, and I feel confident when I see him speaking about the financial matters of the country. I don't know. I feel kind of confident that it's going in the right direction. That he has an understanding of what he's doing. That he's not just like putting his finger up in the wind and seeing which way it blows. To decide whether he's going to which direction he's going to go.
Yeah. You know what Ron, it reminds me of is you remember when back in the 80s when Reagan would go off into a room with Gorbachev or whoever it was, and he'd come out and you just knew you had a bulldog. And I'm not like Reagan is God kind of guy, but you had confidence like this guy's going to go do a great job for us. And I was 15 or 14 or whatever. I was young, but I was like, wow, this is a good guy to have around. And so I have that similar feeling where if Scott Bessent's going into a meeting to negotiate for improving the finances of our country, for right now until he proves otherwise, and I didn't start there. He's put me here. I believe him, and I want him to do great.
It's the same thing with Lutnick as well as at the
same. Yeah,
I mean, but with these two, I feel confident that this administration is going to start pulling us out of this doldrum that we've been in for the last 4 years. I mean, I'm really impressed with the cabinet that the president put together this time around. I think
I can't speak to most of the offices, but for sure, like Lutnick tells his story, and I basically start to cry because he lost everything, and by everything, he lost friends and everything on 9/11.
I think wasn't he like the only one who survived?
I believe he was the only one that survived from his firm, and then he went back and built it bigger and better, and all in their honor. And that right there, that part there, that chokes me up.
That's a testimony to the character.
Yeah, I want that. I'm going to see, look, I'm getting emotional right now. This is a genuine. I want that guy on my side. And you know what? I believe that he is. I see so many politicians where I'm like, you're not on my side. You hate me. Whatever me is, like you're not in any way interested in me. And I see Howard Lutnick, and he is the one that makes me like, right. I'm genuinely, my eyes have welled up because I know that guy's true. And if he's putting me on, great, then he's got me sold. But when I just, these are guys I respect right now, and I see with them doing something, and I hope it works, because it's not just them in charge of things. All kinds of things can torpedo stuff. A whole pandemic can start. You never know. But I'll take all the wins that those guys can get, even if I'm a little bit cross with Donald Trump. I'm not cross with those guys. I want to see him win.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I am a Trump supporter. I'm absolutely thrilled that he's back in the White House. Do I agree with everything? No. I don't agree with everything, but that's important. It's not, you can't always walk lockstep with the administration that's in office, whether it's left, right, middle, whatever it is. Use your mind, think.
Yeah.
Remember,
and I'm not wild by like the celebrity part of it, any of it. I don't
No,
care about that. Look, it's just that's not important. And I don't lockstep with Donald Trump. But if Donald Trump is going to get peace in all these places, then I'll take all the peace deals he can get too. And
the 7
because
wars.
yeah, I mean, peace is better than war because peace means you have words. And it may be a rough peace, it may be a dangerous peace, but you have words to exchange still. When you run out of words, like Hamas and Israel, then people are going to die and it's going to be horrible. And it's very hard to stop those kind of things. And so anytime he can get a peace deal, I'm going to be on board. I don't care if it's a crappy deal. No one's supposed to like a peace deal. It's going to be hard on everybody. So just get them done so we can get to the business of healing and getting folks together.
You're never going to get everything you want in a peace deal.
Right. That's right.
No side is ever going to get what they want entirely.
If it would have been, if we could have paid Putin $1 trillion on day one to stop, we should have done it. $2 trillion, whatever it is, right? Figure out how to pay the bill later on, but get him to stop before it ever happens. And now instead, and listen, I'm going to tell you something you would for sure know. When you kill, I don't know, 20% of the men in Ukraine or Russia, you kill all these men, women are going to get abused, brutal. It's going to be awful. They're going to get murdered. They're going to get raped. They're going to get hookered and all that kind of thing. And that's the cost of war. And I don't want that. I've seen too much of that stuff in my life. You have too. I don't need any more of that. I don't need anything that creates that. And so, yeah, I'll take all the peace deals he can get.
Absolutely. I think what was the last total was 1.7 million Ukrainians.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
It's ridiculous. And this is something that should never have gotten to this point. But I don't know if you can hear them in the background, but my little alarm clock is barking at the door, letting me know that they're hungry. So, so Pete, so where can the audience go to find out more about your work and what you're doing and follow you wherever?
You can go on X, super simple, P.A. Turner. I've got a channel here on Rumble, but I don't really tend to it very much. If you really want to get a hold of me, you go on to YouTube or just P.A. Turner on X. You'll find me. I'm not hard to. I'm glad to talk to you. And if you want to get a hold of me and those aren't your things, Pete at breakitdownshow.com is a good place to go. And thank you for having me on, man. I love you for doing all this stuff with me. It's great. Break It Down Show, awesome. If you guys can listen to it, great. If not, that's cool. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but maybe I'm yours.
Yeah, you never know. And it is a great show, by the way. Like I said, I've checked it out prior to tonight, and really impressed with it. And I enjoyed it. I had a bunch of laughs, and I agreed with you on a lot of stuff. I disagree with you on a few things.
Good.
Nothing earth shattering. No big deals. But it's like whatever. Yeah. Everybody's entitled to opinions. But you definitely need to check them out. Great show. You really enjoy it, folks. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say goodbye to Pete. We're going to go through our closing really quickly. And let's see, before we do that, while we have Pete up here, Pete will probably like this. So our new partner is American Hemp Pub. Check them out at AmericanHempPub.com. You can use promo code Rooz at checkout for free shipping on orders over $40. And you get a free doob tube. And just got to be over 21. So make sure you check them out at AmericanHempPub.com, AmericanHempPub.com. Promo code Rooz for free shipping. All right.
Nice.
There we go.
Have a great weekend. Looking forward. I'll reach back to you and I'll have you on my show. Everybody else, have a great weekend.
You got it, brother. Anytime. I got your number, so I'll text you after the show. All right. Have a great one. Thanks, bud. All right, folks. So really quickly, just to remind you guys, head over to the website, joerooz.com, joerooz.com. Look for the programming announcements email list. Sign up sheet should be right there as soon as you get onto the page, and sign up. I honestly, I've not been the most consistent with it. I'm going to do better with that. I'm trying to do better with that. Did not have time to do one for today's show, so I apologize for that. But check it out. Sign up for it, and we'll do better to get those messages out. No show tomorrow, but we will see you on Sunday for our Sunday Bible study show. You want to check us out on our socials, Twitter, X, or whatever, at Joe Rooz, Truth Social, Joe Rooz, mine's Joe Rooz, Facebook, Joe Rooz Podcast, Instagram, not Joe Rooz, and that's because they banned me when I first before I even finished signing up. They said I couldn't have that account, so not Joe Rooz went through, so that's why we're there. All right, TikTok, Joe.Rooz, and Getter, Joe Rooz. I am terrible at social media, so bear with me with that one. If you follow me, I will follow you back. And, I don't post much, but I'm always creeping around, so check it out. All right, now, our usual shout-outs to our producing team. Executive producers, Wayne Rankin, Rosanna Rankin, Carolina Jimenez, and Marissa Lee. Thank you guys so much for your support. And also to our producer, the inestimable Anonymous Angela. Thank you so much for all the work that you guys do. Really appreciate it. These folks donate their time, their talent, their treasure, and they help put this show together. So we thank you so much to each and every one of them for their support. Now, if you want to get in on the action on that, head over to the support page on our website. We have our producer tiers. You can sign up for an associate producer for $17.76 a month. Producer is $18.36 a month. And then executive producer is $25 a month or more. All right. All the producers get the same shout out on every show, inclusion in all the show notes and emails. Everything that goes out from here has your name attached to it. Why? Because your donation, whether it's your time, your talent, or your treasure, goes to produce the show. So we give you the shout out for that as our appreciation. Now, as an executive producer, you get a little extra benefit. You get to book a 30-minute segment with us here live on the show. And I think next Wednesday, we're going to have our Wednesdays with Wayne, which will be part of the third hour of the show. And we're looking forward to spending some time with him there. All right. Now, you can also do a one-time donation in any amount, or you can do a recurring donation in any amount. Whatever it is that you have the means to do, we appreciate that. Also, if you want to donate through cryptos, you can do that as well. All of our crypto wallet information is up on the website as well. And speaking of cryptos, thank you to the folks that are streaming sats to us through the modern podcast apps. Sats are just micropayments of Bitcoin. So you can do that very easily by signing up for a modern podcast app like Podcast Guru, Fountain.fm, TrueFans.fm, Podverse, Pocket Cast, so many of them. Go to modernpodcastapps.com and check them out, or go to podcastindex.org. All right. Well, I think for me, that should just about do it. So don't forget, no show tomorrow, but we will be back on Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Time with our Sunday Bible Study show. All right, folks. Thanks again for spending the time with us. Have a great weekend. Look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Make Texas independent again. Go podcasting. Keep a steady stride. And hey, listen. Keep talking. God bless you. Good night.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then.
Who cares about the clouds if we're together?
Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather.
Happy trails to you till we meet again.
Some trails are